Class 11th, Subject Physics, 9th chapter, Optics. From the chapter, let us see the lenses. The lenses are mainly classified into two groups, that is, convex lenses and concave lenses. A lens is said to be convex if it is thicker in the middle and narrowing towards its periphery. Its focal length is positive as per sign convention. Then a lens is concave if it is thicker at its periphery and narrows down towards the center of that lens. Its focal length is negative. Similarly, there are some other types of lenses as plano-convex lens, plano-concave lens, concave convex lens, as well as convex concave lens. Now, if you consider any thin lens, then for any thin lens, 1 upon f is equal to 1 by v minus 1 by u. This formula will give us the relation between object distance, image distance and the focal length of the lens, that is 1 by f equal to 1 by v minus 1 by u. Now, the focal power of the combination of number of lenses will be given as the focal power P equal to reciprocal of focal length, that is 1 by f, that will be equal to summation I is equal to 1 to n 1 upon fi, that will be equal to 1 upon f1 plus 1 upon f2 plus 1 upon fn, that is for n number of lenses combined together. And therefore the focal power P will be equal to, as it is 1 by f1 plus 1 by f2, 1 by f is equal to P, so that this will represent P1, this will be P2, and therefore P1 plus P2 plus Pn, that is the focal length of the combination of the lenses will be equal to sum of their individual focal powers. And therefore, in short, we can write the focal power of the combination of the lenses P will be equal to summation I is equal to 1 to n Pi. Now, instead of that, if you consider only two thin lenses, so for only two thin lenses separated in air by a distance d, if d represents the distance of separation in air between two thin lenses, then their focal power P will be equal to 1 by f, that will be given as 1 upon f1 plus 1 upon f2 minus d upon f1 f2. This 1 by f1 will be P1, 1 by f2 will be equal to P2, and therefore we can write P1 plus P2 minus d into 1 upon f1 f2, that is 1 upon f1 f2 will be nothing but P1 P2, and therefore the focal power of the combination of two thin lenses will be P1 plus P2 minus d P1 P2, where d will be the separation between the two lenses in air. Now, let us see the refraction at a single spherical surface. Refraction at a single spherical surface. So, if you consider the ray diagram, then in that ray diagram, this APB, it is a curved surface. It is a single spherical surface. Then the point object O will be placed here along this x dash line. So U will represent the object distance. At the same time, its image will be obtained at point O dash, and therefore phi will represent the image distance. Then this spherical surface APB will divide this media into two media. One medium that is towards left of this surface having its refractive index n1. On the right side of this surface there will be the second medium having its refractive index n2. Now here n1 will be less than n2, that is this will act as rarer medium, it will act as denser medium. So towards the right of this surface the whole medium will be denser medium, towards left this whole medium will be rarer medium. Now C is the center of curvature of this spherical surface, that is AC will be the radius. Now if it is extended, that is CAN, then this CAN will be the normal to that surface APB at point A. OA, this ray will represent the incident ray and then it will get refracted along AI. So it will meet at point O dash, and therefore the position of the point will be at point O, its image will be formed at point O dash. This PC distance will be nothing but the radius of curvature of that spherical surface, and therefore if you consider this diagram, it will be described in detail like this. Consider a spherical surface of radius of curvature R separating two transparent media of refractive indices n1 and n2. P will be the pole of the surface and xp x dash is the principal axis for that given surface. A point object O is an object and which will be placed at point O, therefore minus u from the pole will be the object distance. This object distance will be minus u because according to sign convention it is towards the left side of the pole. Then it will lie, that is minus u will lie in the medium of refractive index n1. Similarly, the ray OP along the principal axis will travel undeviated along xp x dash. So when this ray OP is normally incident on this surface, so without any deviation it will travel along the same line, that is xp x dash. Another ray OA strike the surface at point A, then NAC is the normal to the surface from that center of the curvature C. Let I be the angle of incidence at point A in the medium of refractive index n1. So as OA is the incident ray, therefore the angle between this normal and this incident ray, this will be equal to angle of incidence I, and that angle of incidence I is in the first medium of refractive index n1. Then as n1 is less than n2, that is first medium is rarer as compared with the second medium, the ray deviates towards the normal and it will bend along AO dash and meets the principal axis at point O dash. Now this is the real image form at O dash, that is I of that point O. Then let R be the angle of refraction in the medium of refractive index n2 at point A. So after refraction this OA ray of light will travel along AO dash, and therefore the angle between the normal and the refracted ray will be equal to R, that is angle of refraction R. Now by using Snell's law, we can use here Snell's law because there is refraction from rarer medium to denser medium, and so by using Snell's law we can write n1 sin I equal to n2 sin R, n1 sin I equal to n2 sin R, equation number 1. Now if you consider the geometry of figure, then from this geometry of figure, if you consider this angle alpha, then angle beta, then angle gamma here. Therefore, if you consider the first triangle OAC, then for this triangle OAC, this angle is alpha, this angle is beta, this I angle will be the exterior angle of that triangle AOC, and therefore by using the property of exterior angle we can write angle I will be equal to alpha plus beta. That is, measure of exterior angle is equal to sum of the measures of two interior angles, and therefore we can write here I is equal to alpha plus beta. Similarly, let us consider triangle ACO dash. So if you consider this triangle, then here angle is gamma, here it is R, here it is beta. So now this beta will be again exterior angle for this triangle, and therefore again using the property of exterior angle we can write beta will be equal to R plus gamma. Beta is equal to R plus gamma, and therefore R will be equal to beta minus gamma, and therefore this R is equal to beta minus gamma. This total will represent equation number 2. Now, as angles I, that is angle of incidence I and angle of refraction R, are very small, therefore we can consider sin I equal to I and sin R equal to R only. So as angle theta is very small, then sin theta is taken as theta. Therefore here we will consider sin I equal to I and sin R equal to R. Now, as AP is an arc for angles alpha, beta and gamma, so from this figure this curve AP will be acting as the arc for this angle alpha, for this angle beta as well as gamma. This is the arc, and therefore in terms of arc these angles alpha, beta and gamma will be given as this alpha will be equal to arc AP upon this radius OP, and therefore alpha will be equal to arc AP upon PO, that will be equal to arc AP upon minus U, because this distance OP is equal to minus U. Similarly for this beta, that will be equal to arc AP upon this radius PC, and therefore beta is equal to arc AP upon PC, but PC is equal to R, and therefore beta will be equal to arc AP upon R. Similarly for this gamma, it will be again equal to arc AP upon this distance, that is radius PO dash, and therefore gamma will be equal to arc AP upon PO dash, that will be equal to arc AP upon this phi, because PO dash is equal to phi, and therefore now if you consider equation number 1, from this we can write N1I equal to N2R, because here sin I is equal to I and sin R equal to R, and therefore from this relation this will become only I, it will be only R, and therefore we will get N1I equal to N2R. Now putting the values of I and R from equation 2. So from this equation 2 we have I is equal to alpha plus beta and R is equal to beta minus gamma. Therefore putting these values in this equation we can write N1 into alpha plus beta equal to N2 into beta minus gamma. Simplifying this we can write N1 alpha plus N1 beta equal to N2 beta minus N2 gamma. Now taking two terms having beta on one side, we can write N2 minus N1 into beta. N2 minus N1 beta will be equal to N2 gamma plus N1 alpha. N2 gamma, this N2 gamma plus this N1 alpha. Therefore, now putting the values of alpha, beta and gamma from these relations, as alpha is equal to RKP upon minus U, beta is equal to RKP upon R, and gamma is equal to RKP upon phi. So putting these values, we will get n2 minus n1 equal to RKP upon R, that is value of beta, equal to n2 into RKP upon V, that is value of gamma, plus n1 into arc AP upon minus V, that is the value of this alpha. So if you consider all these values and then simplify it, then arc AP will get cancelled from each term, and therefore we will get n2 minus n1 upon R equal to n2 upon V minus n1 upon U, equation number 3. So this equation will be used in order to explain the refraction at a single spherical surface, that is n2 minus n1 upon R equal to n2 upon V minus n1 upon U.